Hello everybody, and welcome to the 10th episode of EVE Online Beginnings with our star, Raven over here. I am Kaylem, your host, and today we're going to be talking about preparing for battle. Now this may not be the most fun of topics because it's all about logistics, being prepared, having what you need, where you need it, and when you need it. So before I talk about how, let's talk about why. Why do we need to be prepared? So as you all know, I have plans to join RVB. Red versus blue, probably the red side. Now prior to joining, I want to set myself up for the PvP that will follow, because once I join, I'm going to be in Eternal War deck and I won't really have the means to move around freely because I will have enemies now, which I don't have currently. So to be able to set up for PvP, you need a few things. I need to think about this before I join. So the first thing I need is ISK. A good sized portion of it as well. Maybe about 100 mil, I'll say, is a good point to start, but obviously you don't need it all at once. You know, I personally only saved up 60 mil, I think, 49 mils right now through my intensive exploration and a bit of missioning. Now remember, the older your EVE character is, the easier it is to make ISK, because I am slowly getting more DPS because of the skills I'm finishing. I'm slowly getting more defense, more tank because of the skills that I'm finishing. So as you grow older as an EVE player, you actually can find it easier to make more ISK. So because of this, I'm quickly finishing my missions, and I'm slowly doing more missions than explorations as my skills increase, because I can have a more steady income through missioning. Yes, it's really boring, and no, we don't really make 10 million at once like we do with exploration, but I also don't lose as many ships. I found that a lot of people camp the data relic sites, especially in low sec, so I only really explore during the night where there are less people and I feel a bit safer. Or I go into null sec, and null sec, I hate to say this since I live in null sec my whole life in EVE, but you know, those people, they don't really want to, they're not as eager to chase you down and kill you if you're in a relic site because of effort. It takes more effort for them to find you, so they generally don't bother. However, with these low sec people, they literally scan them out beforehand, and as I showed you many times before, they wait for you. So I've lost quite a few ships that way. So that's why I'm slowly doing more more missioning, as it's easier for me to make ISK. So after you have all your ISK, it's all about the logistics. Oh, now one more thing I want to say about the ISK is right now I don't have 100 mil. But that's okay, because obviously as I join Red vs. Blue, as I join future events and I lose money, I'm going to make money too. I'm going to spend more time missioning as well. Whenever there's no PvP, I will be missioning. I will be doing things that earn me more ISK so that I can afford to PvP when things are happening. And things are happening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited this episode to tell you about that. So anyway, what was I saying? Yes, after you found your ISK, after you made your ISK, it's about the logistics, getting stuff from, you know, getting stuff that you need to where you need it. Remember that in EVE, just because you bought something somewhere doesn't mean that it magically appears where you are. You must go to the station itself or have someone go there for you. So for example, if I look for I'm in Jita right now, it's a little cheating, but if I go to, for example, to look for Afterburner, I can see that this is in station. If I buy this now, I'll get it immediately. But if I buy it here, you know, it will be 12 jumps away. Now, of course, you might say, why the hell would I buy it anywhere but here? This is cheaper. But imagine I wasn't in Jita. Imagine I was 12 jumps away in, what is this? Voskha, whatever, you know? I'm 12 jumps away. I could either buy my item for 27,000 or jump 12 jumps to buy for 16,000 in Jita. So that's the choice I have to make. So, but anyway, either way, I have to go get it. If I bought it in Jita, it doesn't appear in this place that I'm in, 12 jumps away. I have to jump 12 jumps to get it in Jita. So, and this is not just, you know, for modules. It's for ships as well, tank mods, damage mods, E-war mods, everything. Everything you need on your ship must be present where you bought it, or rather, you know, you must be present where you bought it to pick it up. So let me just diverge a little bit and tell you a little bit how markets work. Now markets work in this way: the lazy pay more, the hardworking make the more. So if you want to keep the ISK yourself, you'll have to work a little bit harder. You know, if you want to save the ISK here, you're going to have to jump to 12 jumps to get at 16,000 instead of getting at 27. So that, and this is, you have to work harder basically. So if if you have the money, pay away. Okay, I would never want to jump 12 jumps to save 10,000 ISK. I would pay 27,000 any day, every day. You know, but certain things are not like that. Certain things are, we're talking about millions in difference, or sometimes tens of millions in difference. And then now you're saying, well, you know what? I don't mind doing the 12 jumps for if I save 15 million, let's say. You know, it's very simple. Jita, such as where I am right now, as well as Amar, Heck, Dodixie, and Renz, have the best prices because people go there and trade in a centralized manner. You get the best market price in these places. Now I say market price because it's remember that the prices in EVE change as supply and demand changes, and so basically, you know, just because that's the best market price doesn't mean it's the best price. For example, just looking at this, the market price right now is 16,420 in Jita, but one jump away it's at 1,600. So the question is, well, is Jita the best price? Yes, Jita is still the best price because this is the best market price, but this guy could have bought it for $13,000 cheaper. You know, he could have bought it cheaper maybe a month ago, and now he put it over there for a little bit less. So sometimes people don't update their prices, and you might find places where it's cheaper outside of Jita, but Jita will always be the market price, the standard of which everything else is priced will always be in Jita specifically, and of course other marketplaces for the region. So you know, that's I hope that isn't too confusing. So people buy the mods, right? They buy the mods at the best market price, and then they bring them to other areas, maybe to where you are right now, and they sell it for the market price that they bought it for, plus the cost of their shipping, whatever they want to, you know, I mean, what's the cost of a jump to you? You know, some people, you know, they're willing to do a jump for 500,000. Some people aren't willing to do a jump without at least 2 million per jump. So whatever it is, you know, they'll price their things accordingly. Of course, other people will compete with them and try to go lower and lower and lower. That's why you see 27,000, 27,000, 21. You know, it really depends on who can provide service to you for the cheapest. So obviously, if you're living far, far away from Empire space, like I live in nullsec space, really there's only a few people that are bringing stuff to nullsec. So I have to pay a substantial premium as opposed to if I did it myself. So a lot of times I find myself doing it myself, and I'm going to teach you how to do it in this episode. So, but I just want to explain why certain things are more expensive at certain stations 2 or 3 jumps away, because people, players such as yourself, they're setting the price. So to get the best price, it's best to move things yourself. Currently, I will run you through how I am preparing for a community PvP event ran by Crossing Zebras. So I just found out through Spectre Fleet that they are, so let me just reload the MLTD, that on this Saturday for me, there's going to be a Crossing Zebras free-for-all. So, and I'll give you more details on that in a little bit, but the whole point is that I want to tell you that these events are everywhere. Once you know where to find them, once you know where to look, you can find PvP opportunities no matter what corp you're in. So I already showed you Spectre Fleet, which has, you know, constant PvPing throughout the day even. These are just the listed fleets, but actually I find them actually being fleets together throughout the day, so you just have to hang out in the chat room. So no matter what corporation you're in, you can still participate. There's another thing called RVB Ganked. I believe it's this channel. Let me double check. Yes, this is RVB Ganked. This is a channel, let me just move it a little bit. It's just a channel called RVB Ganked, and what it is that it's very similar to what Spectre Fleet is doing, where they basically come together and give a theme. So last time I believe the gank theme was web ships, so all their ships have webs on them, and then they would go and gank whoever. It's the same thing as Spectre Fleet. It's all not purple, shoot it type of fleet, so anyone can join and whatnot. And so why wouldn't you? You know, if you are missing PvP in your life and you are missing a group of friends to play with, to PvP with, check these guys out. Check Spectre Fleet out. Check RVB Ganked out. You know, it actually shows right here that their next one is going to be the 24th of May. Today is the 14th, so it's in 10 days. So it's something for me to keep in mind as we go through. Another thing is the news. News is also really important in EVE Online. If you do not follow the news, you're going to be missing out on a lot of things. There's a couple of news websites. I'll give you the 2 major ones. So the first one is going to be the Matani. And I'm going to link these for you guys. The Matani.com, TMC. The Matani.com is my preferred news source. However, I am part of the CFC, so you can say I am very biased, but that's okay. I find them to be the least biased of the two news sources. Once again, because it's run by the Matani and their kin, it's very political. And new players, you might not understand. Old players, I'm just telling you, that's the way it is. So on the TMC, you'll find a lot of news articles and whatnot, and the one I was referring to has to do with this. So this was yesterday's article. Today's the 14th. Here's the 13th. So yesterday, TMC wrote an article about Crossing Zebras hosting a second FFA. So I not really into this beforehand, so I missed the first FFA, but apparently it was a lot of fun. And if you read this article, it tells you that they're actually running a contest. They even have prizes. So what they've done is they've invited members of the CSM board, which is a council board for players who are advocating for players in regards to CCP, as well as the podcasting community. Some celebrities might show up, and then of course you guys, or us, the members of the public. And FFA will kick off at 1900 in Eve time in a system of Hasera. So the Hasera, by the way, is a little bit far. Let me see. Let me show you how far it is. Like 9-10 jumps or something like that from where we are. So the idea is that the fight is happening here, but I have no ships there. So today I'm going to show you how I'm going to prepare to bring my ships there. So it's 10 jumps away, basically. So first prize, the #1 killer, if you get the top of the kill list, which I doubt I'm going to get with my new character, and that's okay because it's not about winning, it's about having fun while you're there. Because this is what we call content creation. We have these guys who are hosting a contest to where thousands of players are going to come and join together and play and fight and lose money and blow up some ships, get some kills. And so it really doesn't matter about the prizes, but the prizes, you know, it helps. It makes some hardcore people, it attracts people so you get more targets. That's really the whole point of it. So if you top the kill list, they're going to give you a Plex and a carrier. Not very useful if you're a new player, but a old player like me, I might actually want to try and win this. Then the silver, you get a Navy Dominix and a Plex. Third place, you get a Plex and a Pirate Cruiser. Blah, 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 blah. The whole point is that anyone and everyone can participate. Again, I'm not going to go into the event hoping to win a prize. I'm just going to go knowing that they're going to be people over there and knowing that they're going to be ready to fight. That's why we're there, because they're ready. And so that's really what it is. And they're doing this in conjunction with RVB Ganked. There you go. Perfect. So the whole point is that if you keep up to date with websites such as the Matani, or the other one is Eve News, I believe it's evenews24.com. Let's see if I'm correct. I am right. So evenews24.com is another one, and this is, politically speaking, the other side. So it's basically, if you're American, it's kind of Republican versus Democrat. It's just two different sides of the political spectrum. I read both sites because they both have different types of articles, and they have also different viewpoints. So one is on a side where my team is part, the other one is the opposite team. So it's always nice to just see the other side and, you know, be unbiased in news basically. So these are the main two sites. So following these sites, as well as joining the channel of RVB Ganked and Spectre Fleet, should give you plenty of PvP opportunities, while in between which you are trying to make more ISK to support this need to PvP. Okay, so that's basically how I'm doing it. So give me a second here. Let's talk about what we're doing. So in order for me to be prepared for this event where I'm going to do the free fall, I need to bring ships out there. In order for me to be prepared for joining red versus blue and being on a red team, I need to bring ships there. Otherwise, when I am moving the ships, people will be trying to shoot me as I'm doing it, which is not very helpful for the survival of my ships. So what I've done here is I have purchased a few things. This is a Incursius. I'm just fitting in right now for the event. It is a dual repping Incursius. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but right now I want to show you. So I've purchased a few things. I've purchased 5 Condors so far. I plan on using a Condor fit for the free fall that I'm hoping to show you guys in a little bit. So just so you know, I'm getting all my fits currently from Eve Battle Clinic, the site that I showed you before. I will link it again in this episode. But the idea is that you find fits that you like, and you'll see here these are all Tech 2. I don't have the skills right now. That's okay. Remember, I showed you guys, or I'm gonna show you guys, that if you see any module that you can't use, you can always just press the I button to get more information, go to variations. And so they might be using, you know, the Tech 2 version, but I can use the Tech 4, not Tech 4, Meta 4, Meta 3, Meta 2, whichever one's more affordable. This is a good example actually. The Tech 2, if you look at the price in Jita, is $500,000 or 600,000 about. That's not that bad. The Meta 4 is 1.3 mil, so it's almost double the price, and the reason is because a lot of people who do not have the skills. So for example, for me to fit a light neutron blaster 2, I need to put 6 days of training in it. It's actually not that bad, you know, but for those that don't want to do it, you know, this is pretty, the level of Meta 4 is very similar, but do not require much at all in terms of what you need to use it. So that's why a lot more people are in demand of this, and plus this, all Tech 2 items players create, so if the price goes down, they just make more, whereas this, it has to drop from NPCs, and so you have a limited amount of supply, whereas a lot of people still want it. So this is why it's selling for a lot more. Even the Meta 3 is selling for $500,000. So I actually ended up buying the Meta level 2 because I really just don't have that much money to spend. I don't want to spend, especially for a free-for-all event where I know I'm going to die almost instantly. I don't really want to spend 8 mil per ship. I want to spend, I believe, let me see, the cost here, I believe comes out to be about, hold on, it's about 22 mil for 5 ships, so divide that by 5 is about 4, so about 4 to 5 million per ship is how much I'm spending. So I want to spend about 20-30 mil on this free fall event. I want to save the rest of my money to buy ships for my Red Federation bros I'm going to meet. So I don't want to spend all my money in one basket, especially since I know the free fall is going to be very hectic and very likely that I will not be surviving. So I want to keep it cheap. So this is what you would do. You could go to variations and keeping it cheap. So that's one way to do it. Alright, I think I'm losing my train of thought here. But after you buy your things, I have set up so I bought 5 condors, and when I'm going to fit these condors once again to this fit here that I like. This is a standard point and annoy condor fit, and what it really is 3 light missile launchers, which I'm going to buy the meta level 3s probably to keep it cheap. Then we get, you know, a warp disruptor, a tracking disruptor, I'm not going to read this to you, okay? I'm going to put this in the link so you guys have a link to it and you can read. Again, one more time, if you read this part right here, it'll tell you everything you need to know about how to use the ship. And then you get to see other people, you know, bashing it or respecting the fit. So you can get a feel for the general consensus of the weaknesses, because a lot of people be like, oh wait, you have a kiting ship, well, you know, it's weak against this brawler. Well, of course it's weak against something. Alright, this game is not about one ship fits all, it's about situation. You know, you might pawn in this one situation and get totally raped in another situation. So keep that in mind. So whatever the naysayer says, don't forget about them. Do read them so you know what this ship is weak against, but that's about it. So stick to your guns, so to speak, or your missiles in this case. So I'm going to buy a lot of these, and then I'm going to ship it to Hasera, where we're going to have some fun. We're going to free for all, right? So now each of this ship, they are about 2,500 cubic meters. So it's not like I can just I have a few choices here. I could either fit the ship like this in Cursus, and I can travel 10 jumps, right? But since I'm buying 5 ships, I'll have to do this 10 jumps 5 times, which comes out to be 50 jumps, which is going to cost me some real life time. What I can do instead of this is I could hire other corporations, and today I'm going to give you an introduction to Red Frog. So Red Frog is a freighter service within HiSec. If you want to travel to low-sec, they have Blue Frog, I believe, or Black Frog. So Blue Frog and Black Frog, Blue Frog I believe is for things over 1 billion. You're not going to really need that as a new player. Black Frog is for any logistics into null-sec or low-sec space. So if you go into low-sec to do some kind of faction warfare, you might have a need for Black Frog. Prices are expensive as it's very, very hard and dangerous to move things around in low-sec and null-sec. Keep that in mind. So I'm going to use Red Frog, which is a, how do I say this? A high-sec movement service. This is not the channel. What is the channel to Red Frog? I don't know. So I'm going to look up the corporation, Red Frog, under corporation. and then it's gonna say here it is, and then I'm just gonna show info, and it's gonna give me their where their channel is. RF Fright. Okay, no big deal. RF Fright. Alright, here we are in their channel, and if you after you join the channel, and even here they give you the instructions. You know, join the channel, go to our website, read the FAQ, use the chip calculator. I read the FAQ, I know how to use it, so I'm just going to run you through it. So it's very, very simple. You do have to follow, do read these things. You do have to follow these rules, otherwise you're not going to get your things shipped, and they might even keep it. So, actually I don't think they're like that, but just in case, you know, do read the FAQ. So I'm just going to use the chip calculator, I'm not going to read to you. So it's very simple. So this basically tells you a few things. Tells you how many contracts they have. So they currently have 148 contracts, but they have 111 that they're working on right now. So there's 148 people kind of waiting for them to do their contract. In the last hour, 41 people gave them new contracts, 70 people got their contracts accepted, and 48 got them completed. So in the last hour, about 50 people got their contracts completed. So if you look at it this way, right, there's about what 250, let's say 260 contracts right now that they have to do at a rate of 50 per hour. You can see how fast they're moving. Whether or not that's too fast or not fast enough, that's up to you. You can always do a rush service, which significantly increases the cost. But let's just say right now it's in Jita, and Hasera is high sec, so I'm not going to be able to ship there without paying the Black Frog, which I don't want to pay. So I'll do one jump out, which is OISIO, and then calculate. So here's a cool thing about this corporation. So for 7 million, so 8 million, let's say, for 8 million ISK, I get to ship up to 860,000 cubic meters. Now, of course, I'm not going to fill up that much, which really sucks because I'm going to waste a lot of money, because they're basically giving me a freighter worth of space. You know, they're basically saying here, for 7.6 million, you get to rent a truck. And this truck could hold, I don't know, a house. And basically, I'm shipping like, 2 pieces of furniture, basically. But it doesn't matter. I'll pay 8 million any day than to do 50 jumps to move my 5 ships across to where they need to go. So that's really what it is. And then you can set up a contract. So if I were to do it, I'm not ready yet because I only have 5 ships I have to buy. So in order to be ready, you have to have your 5 ships. You have to buy all the items you want for the 5 ships. So let's say I'm in my cursus right now, but let's pretend this is my Condor and this is my fit. I will have to buy this 5 times, 5 times, 5 times, 5 times, 5 times, 5 times. You get the point. Everything 5 times, and then it'll all be in this bay, and then I would have to use this, right? And my ships, and all together make a contract. So if I were to do it right now, I would say create contract right here, and I'll do a courier, right? And I believe the instructions are right here. So we have to set up the contract to them, right? It's a private one, by the way, not a public. Okay, so Red Frog Freight. So maybe I could just drag this in. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, god damn it. Alright, I have to write it out. That's fine. Red Frog Freight, right? And then next, it's a private. Don't make it public. And then I have my 5 condors, and let's say these are my condor items. I can select all the items that I need to ship my condors. You'll see the total cubic meters here. Now, they're giving me 860,000. I'm only using 12,000 right now. So again, it's going to be a lot of waste. But once again, much worth it than, going 50 jumps. So the reward is going to be 760,000, right? 7.6 mil. Nope, not enough. Here, so this is the cost. Now, you can always give more. So, for example, I'll probably give 8 million to tip the driver, to tip the truck driver, right? The collateral is going to be the cost that I incurred buying these things. So right now, let's say the cost right here says 3.3 mil. So let's just say it's 3.3 mil. Put more. Put more than 3.3 mil. If your stuff is only worth 10 mil, put 20 mil. So in case they lose it, you at least get some money back because they lost your stuff. So I'm going to put, let's say 25 mil. Now, of course, my stuff is not worth 25 mil. I'm just going to put it in there because they are going to get this money back. So what they're going to do is they're going to pay you the collateral, and then when they're done giving you their stuff, they're going to get that back. So I don't really mind as long as I'm not charging obscene amount like 500 million for what is essentially worth like 5 million. That's not really worth it. Expiration, I will put it to 3 days. 3 days. They're pretty fast about accepting your stuff, so 3 days should be more than enough. Some people put 7. It's really up to you. But since this event is on Saturday and currently it is Wednesday, 3 days is all I can afford. And then you'll give them 1 day to complete it. So say thanks, and then where you have to ship to, you have to type it in. Not hi Sarah, OISIO, I believe. Search, and then you just pick a place. So let's just, I mean, any place is as good as any place. So, and then that's it. And then you click next, and then you would finish, and then that's how. And then the cost is going to be $10,000, 10,000 ISK, and that's it. So, and then you wait. So it's as simple as that. And then let's say they accept it and they deliver it, your stuff will be here waiting for you. So then you can just go in a pod, takes no time at all, and then get there and get it done. Alternatively, this is obviously for my free fall, that's happening this weekend. But if I was preparing for red versus blue, or anywhere else actually, I could have them ship it and it'll be a lot cheaper. So for example, for red versus blue, will be coming from Jita, and red is in Otella. So it's only a few jumps away. So the same cost is now going to be 3.4 million instead of 7.6 because it's only 3 jumps away. So at this point, this is how I'm going to buy my future ships. I'm going to have a alternative character. I'm going to make, you should always have a Jita alt, and that means you just log off, log in again, and when it says which character you want to log into, create a new one, right? Make it a Kadari based character, and then when you log in, just go straight to Jita, and then go back on your other character, give some money to this Jita character, and have this guy buy everything for you, and then either have it shipped by an organization like Red Frog, or pick it up later on your mate. Depending on where you are, who you are, what you're doing, you might have trouble getting into Jita. Like for example, my main characters can't really, they could go to Jita, but most of the time we have ward decks, so anytime I go to Jita, pick up something nice, I come out, they kill me. Really, it's just throwing money down the drain. So what I do is I have a second character that buys the things, and then they ship it out for me, so my main character never have to really go into Jita. And that is the way that a lot of E players do it. Okay, and so I hope this episode has been very helpful for you in terms of preparing for the inevitable war that you guys will be heading into. I hope it helps you get an idea of the amount of work you need to do before the fight even begins. I have to, it's not as easy. I mean, I made it seem very easy because I gave you the fit already. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this fit and whatnot. Well, the work that you don't see is that I actually had to find a fit. That's one. So I browsed through a lot of Condor fits. Then I had to then take this fit and I had to dumb it down. So this Incursus fit, for example, I found this fit already. Let's see if I have it. It's right here, I believe. So here's the Incursus fit, right? So I had to find this fit, like it, right? Read about it, and then afterwards I then have to go and change it so that my newer character can use something similar. This is actually not the dual rep. This is, I gave you the wrong one. So this is what I basically copied. So obviously, as you can see here, I did copy some of the things like damage control 2. This one I did, but the dual reps, I couldn't afford. I didn't want to afford 2 meta 5 ones, which is tech 2. I just bought 2 meta 2 ones, because it's good enough. Because this ship is gonna die, and I know this already. So the rest is all tech 1. None of it is tech 2, even though this asks for everything tech 2. So depending on your skills, you're gonna have to dumb it down a little bit, and you might have troubles fitting it, because you might not have the skills yet to fit all the modules that they're asking for. Which is why, for example, I have a Gypsy module which increases my CPU because I don't have the fitting requirements to do this fit. I had to have an augmentation to help me fit it. Do what you need to do to get the fits done, and after that, after you're done with it, this is my fit. Now I can buy 50 of these, 50 of these, 50 of these, now that I know that my character can use it. So this is all the pre-work that needs to be done before you even go think about PvP. And this is the best part, is if you die, you have to do this again. That's the whole point. When you kill your enemy, you know that this is the work that they have to do. So when you kill a ship 50 jumps away from Jita, you know that somehow they gotta get a new ship from Jita 50 jumps out to where they are, or pay a higher price because someone else did that for them where they are. And so, oh, cool idea. Just so you know, another thing for preparing for battle has to do with bookmarks. This is the actual battle, not buying stuff. So for example, I have and I'm going to make an episode just for bookmarks. but I'm so excited I gotta show you guys. So when I undock from Jita, now if I was in a war deck, I'm not, but if I was, you know, these could be enemies. So I have what's called an undock bookmark, which means I just literally warp instantly. The moment I undock, I hit that and I'm already in warp, as you can see. So, and here I am, I'm warping already. So this is what's called an undock bookmark, and it's really easy to do. All you have to do is get in a frigate that has a micro warp drive, undock, and when you undock, just hit the plus button to go fast speed and turn on your mod, and then wait until you're maybe at least 150 kilometers away from the station. And so if you ever need to undock with enemies outside, you can just use your undock bookmark and warp there. Another thing that I have is I have tacticals. So if I am basically wanting to go to the Ikuchi gate, and I'm not sure if there are enemies there waiting for me, I can go check the gate out first before I decide to jump. As you can see, it takes me a lot longer to get to warp when I don't have an undock bookmark. So this is basically a bookmark that's 180 kilometers above, to the left, to the right, below the gate, so that you can kind of see what's on the gate before you decide to jump. And anything further than 150 kilometers you can warp to. So because I made my bookmark 180 off, I can just warp to my destination, you know, my gate when I see that there's no danger. So right now, obviously, look, nothing dangerous here, nobody. I can then warp to the gate immediately and then jump through. So this is very useful for me in case I have enemies waiting for me, because once I join red versus blue, the blue team is going to be constantly, you know, around places, and then third parties are going to be war decking RVB, and so I want to be prepared, and so these bookmarks really help. So what I have done, again, making money is about doing things that other people don't want to do, is I actually went to Hysera, by the way, so I want to show you, for sale event bookmarks. So I went to Hysera and I basically got bookmarks for Hysera. I did undock bookmarks for the 3 stations that were there. I did tacticals for the three gates that they're there, and I'm gonna try to sell this the day of the event. So when like most people don't live in Hysera, when I was there yesterday, there was nobody there. There's literally like 2 people there. So people for this Saturday, they're gonna go for the event. And this is me making the most out of a situation, being a strapping capsuleer. So what I noticed is that there's going to be thousands of players that are going to go to Hysera this weekend. So what I did is I made the bookmarks for them, and I plan on selling these bookmarks. So you can then take these bookmarks, right? And you can see hold down the shift to make a copy of them. Can't do more than 5 at a time, so I'll do 4. So as you can see, and then I'll do this. So as you can see, all these bookmarks, I just made a copy. Now I can then create a contract and I can sell these to players. So I'm going to sell them for about 25 mil, you know. And so I might not get a lot of buyers, but out of the multitudes, thousands of players that are going to be there this Saturday, I'm hoping some of them are willing to pay 25 mil for a set of bookmarks that I made for them. And this is an easy way for me to make ISK. It's very simple. I already did the pre-work, and once again, it's if they're lazy. If they're not lazy, they of course can go the night before, 2 days before, like I did, and do it themselves. But if they are lazy, they're probably going to show up, and it's the first time they've ever been to Hysera, the system, and they have no bookmarks. So I can provide these to them for a price. And you can do this for anybody, by the way. You can provide these to RVB people. You can provide these to the only thing about it is that it's kind of strange, because if everyone's using the same bookmarks, and they're not as great as they should be. So if I'm at my tactical over here in Ikichi, and then you warp to the same tactical, well, that kind of defeats the purpose. But you know, if you really think about it, you know, the chances are slim. It's just a one-day event, so I plan on doing this for the people of New Eden. Let's wish me luck on my new enterprising business, and let's hope we make some good ISK. Thank you so much for watching this episode of EVE Online Beginnings. I just want to say that now that we are after our 10th episode, there's not really much to talk about in terms of new player experience. More of the same, really. So I'm going to start working on my PvP videos for you guys soon, so you can continue to learn from what knowledge I have. And so please look forward to that. And this series from now on will just take on a more PvP route. So if I have accumulated enough PvP content, I will display it for you guys to see. Until next time, this is Kaylem signing out.